good on Twitch. Should be good on YouTube. I'm gonna find out. And
Looks like you're coming on live on YouTube and refresh. Yep, and coming up live on. There you are. I see flowers. I see flowers.
ta-da! More flowers.
I see flowers. I see you.
Okay. Well, we're doing landscapes today, so those will be gone. Well, great. Okay, that sounds good. Thanks, Jen. And then if you wouldn't mind just making a comment on both, if that's possible, that lets me know my chat thing is up and running. But I think we're good to go. Let's go sketch some organ. I believe this will be a fun one, a quick one, but a fun one.
Golly, I can hear.
Oh yeah, sorry. There we go. Okay. And oh, yep, great, awesome. All right, thanks, Jen.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Alrighty then, we are up and off and running. So let's see. And I'm just gonna go double check what we are in fact on. Connected accounts. Who's ready for some landscapes? I hope the answer is everybody. So okay, so this was what we did yesterday. Had some flowers. Well, I'm gonna start by sketching some. Let's see, we need Mount Hood sketched, and we need, there's our trees, and we need Forest Park. So let's get a couple of those up and running right now. There's something to like waiting and kind of slowly going. Hello, Christine. Let's see. I'm gonna use a little bit of tape here. So these right here, these are blocks. It's just like a bunch of paper. It's just like a bunch of paper, and they're open-sided. They're basically stuck on two sides. So what I'll do is I'm gonna tape just these edges, and that should give me enough kind of give. Otherwise, they might warp a little bit if I use a ton of paint. I haven't really experienced it too much, but it's better safe than warpy, you know, as the saying goes. A little bit here. That's probably enough. Probably too much, actually. And we'll kind of tape this down like that. There's that. And this will let me do multiple kind of blocks at the same time, which is great. Normally, I just kind of like tape stuff down to the table. Also works totally fine. But this is going to give me just a little bit more control, a little bit less warp, and we'll be able to do a bunch. All right. It also gives these nice crisp, clean edges if that's your thing. I used to be into that. Right now, I'm much more into like the kind of rough hand-drawn edges. But if you like a crisp, clean edge, there's very few things quite as satisfying as like pulling the paint back or pulling the paper back to reveal that nice, clean line. But if you do that, if you do that, then you need to make sure to like put it on something that's like a little, I don't know, like your jacket or something, because otherwise it'll often pull the paper up and all those fibers. So close on that one. We'll do that on a different one. Okay, so let's prep all of our paper blocks, and then we'll get right onto it. How is everybody's spring going, by the way? Today was one of those days where it was kind of slow and then went a million miles per hour for me, which feels like it. And I saw some geese flying for the first time. I've heard them so far, but I saw them for the first time this spring, which is kind of exciting. Feels springy. They were probably very upset because there is so much snow. Probably not where they started. Probably like started and everything's nice and spring below, and then they got to Anchorage and they're just like, what is wrong with you guys? Why is it still winter? Why is there snow everywhere? Okay, a little bit here. Let's see. Yeah, no, actually, so this is what happens. So if you pull it up, then you get, you know, paper coming off. But if you sort of do this a couple of times, just something with a little bit of fiber, like that, then when you put it on, it won't pull up as much. Like I said, it doesn't really matter too much if you're not super worried about the edge. Makes stuff a little rougher, maybe around the edges, literally. But fun little pro tip. Spring, the porcupines are out and the dogs must be on leash after dark. Oh my gosh. Right. I mean, porcupines out in the winter too, right? Like I feel like that's not a. I feel like they're not a seasonal animal, are they? They're bark eaters. I feel like they. I feel like they go on everywhere, but maybe they like go down to the ground. We've had some interesting porcupine run-ins. My stepmom is a haver of huskies, and she has lots of porcupines experience. And actually, she got porcupine. No, she got bit. She got bit by a beaver, not a porcupine. She's been quilled a few times by porcupines in getting them out of dogs, but she's gotten bit by a beaver before. A dog had sort of grabbed its tail, which is not good, and so she was holding the dog or the beaver. Anyway, I think she's holding the beaver, no, the dog, and it like ran around and bit her, which the beaver did. You can't blame it. It was in a very upsetting spot, but it was on April Fool's Day, so she was calling like animal control because I think you need to get a rabies shot, sort of no matter what. So she's calling animal control to come and help or sort of navigate the situation on what to do, but they didn't believe her because it was on April Fool's. They're like, "Ma'am, you did not get bit by a beaver," and she actually did. She got bit by a beaver on her butt. Okay, there we are. So we're just kind of taping all these down, and this is because today we're doing some big sketches. So here's our 3 that we're kind of like prepping here. But porcupines, those are some tough ones. Little tiny manticores that live in and amongst us. And their quills like only go one direction, which is just terrifying. All right, almost done with these. Tomorrow, if you're around, everybody, I'm gonna try something. I'm going out into the woods tomorrow. I'm not just the woods, the mountains. I'm gonna try to do a live in the mountains. There's some very cool spots. I'm gonna drag a bunch of gear out there. We'll see how it works. I'm a little nervous, but I think it's gonna be really fun. So if you get a chance, tune in. I'll be out there 10:30 Alaska time to 1:30 Alaska time. So that's, let's see, add 5 hours for Nova Scotia. Or yeah, if you're in the East Coast, that is gonna be or 4 hours. Anyway, math. That's where I'll be. It's gonna be very fun. I'm very excited. I've got all my stuff prepped. I've got my little tiny lunch packed. So I'll try to bring something to make a hot lunch out there, and then I'm gonna try to do one of these big accordion notebooks of one of these really wild spots out there. Probably similar to the Girdwood one, to be honest, but a little bit more kicksledding to get there. And if it works well, I was thinking like a fun Friday adventure every Friday would be kind of cool. So kind of take it off. Do you have a lot of ticks or any ticks in Alaska? No, we don't have ticks in Alaska yet. So they are moving up with the temperature. Ticks and like bark beetles, like a lot of these things that are real pests and kind of doing some wreaking some havoc is because they are temperature based, and like the bark beetles, there just haven't been winters cold enough to kill them, or their winters are cold enough to kill them, so they kind of were stuck below a certain parallel. But now the winters are getting warmer, you find them higher and higher and higher. Same with ticks. I think ticks are something that just can't survive up here, but because it's getting warmer and warmer, there's some expectations that they will be arriving soon, which is really too bad. Yeah. Judy from Canmore, we have ticks. They arrive with the crocuses each spring. Oh, bummer. Canmore in Banff? If that is Canmore in Banff, I love Canmore so much. And if it's Canmore somewhere else, chances are I love it. I just like haven't spent too much time there. Let's see. And Pennsylvania, 90 degrees. No kidding. Oh my gosh, that's wrong. Woo! I mean, maybe it's right, but like still, ooh, yikes. Wouldn't wanna try it. Wow, 90 degrees already. Oh boy. Okay, so we are gonna be sketching some things today. We're gonna be sketching Lake Hood, Trillium Lake with Mount Hood in the background. We're gonna be sketching Forest Park, and then we're gonna be sketching, I don't know, what else are we sketching here? That should probably be plenty. If we can get those 2 done, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. But we're going to get those started. And let me just go see exactly what we were talking about. Is that the ones? Yeah. So we're going to get those going, see what happens, and hope that it all shakes out well. Let me just see. Do I have lots of pictures of Forest Park. I should go see if I can send one to myself. Forest Park is kind of tough because you need a reference photo, but then you need the feeling of color. So you don't really need a photo with a color. But you need to have experienced it, but you need a reference photo for the trees. Let me just check. Had not seen that yet. Okay, so I just need to Forest Park. Has anybody tried that new thing on your phone where you can just like look up things? Like here's the photo app. You can just look up moose or pathway or sailboat, and it will just. Oh, I guess this is what I have looked up recently, but yeah, it's like I believe it's AI. Kind of scary that it can find all these things, but not inconvenient. Forest Park. There we are. Okay, it just gave me parks and forest. I'm looking for a very specific forest park. Here's Bellingham. Here is Bellingham. Looking for the one in Oregon. We'll find it here. Forest Park, Oregon. Okay, maybe when I said this is not inconvenient, I might be wrong. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, turns out most of my photos are of things that are either forest or parks. Oregon. All right, nope, don't have any of those. All right, we'll just go find what I'm looking for, and then we'll begin right away. Yep, Banff. Oh, just now. Oh, very cool. Okay, so like Canmore. Oh, I love Canmore. So Banff, very cool spot, and Canmore is like the cool real one. Like Banff is very neat and beautiful, but also kind of like a resort town. Canmore is like the actual real place. We went, stayed like 3 days in Banff and then 2 days in Canmore, and my wife and I were just like, why did we stay in Banff? Like Canmore is so much better. I hope nobody's from Banff here. Okay, sorry, let me get a little bit more distracted. And also we're getting ready for the there's a really big summit that we're going to here in just a second, so my brain is so like not even incapable of doing multiple things. It's just like the second I'm asked to do multiple things, I can do 0 things. You know, it's not like I can only do one thing at a time because I can't even do that. But like the second I try to do 2 things, my brain just sort of crashes right now. Park. Okay, so just gotta grab a quick reference photo. See what we're looking at here. Yes, that is what I'm looking at. Okay. Great. Fun fact, Forest Park was designed by the same person who designed the Central Park in New York City. In the Olmsteads, I think. Yeah, the Olmstead. Yeah, so they designed Forest Park in Oregon in a similar way, which is kind of cool. That like they're so like, could you imagine being like the designer of a park? But they're also like so big. Like these buildings are important, but like these parks are frankly like way more important in a lot of ways, I find. All right, so we have this. I'm sorry, normally I figure this stuff out sooner. Tomorrow though, I don't need any reference anything. Still have mountains. Mountains, Gandalf. It's gonna be great. I've never been to Banff, but the Banff Mountain Film Fest is when it goes on tour. Yes. Banff Mountain Film Fest is so good. We have a film in it. Did you know? I don't know if we've mentioned that. We probably have. Anyway, we have a film in this year's, which is really cool. Okay, so now that goes here. Now I need to send this to there. We're just gonna grab this, put it over to. Oh, they're not speaking to each other. There we go. Okay. How many steps does it take? The answer: many steps. Yeah, it's a story about finding my grandma's sketches in France. We'll have a watch party sometime. Would that be fun? We should do that. I think we can do it on Discord. All right, now Now, let the painting begin. Okay, Forest Park or Trillium Lake first? Any strong opinions? I'll probably do 2 forest parks if that makes any difference. Hello from Montana. Happy to see you. Happy to see more flowers today. Okay, we're gonna do Trillium Lake. Actually, I'm gonna lie a little bit. We are gonna do some flowers. I'm gonna do some landscapes first. So we're gonna be doing some. We're gonna warm up with some landscapes. Let's do a forest park. Let's give it a go. I'll probably do 2 of them. Let's start with one. So let's add an outline to this paper here. So what I'm gonna do, kind of a little bit of just sort of the like forest park is cool because it kind of works around these contours. Oh, lakes, please. Sorry, I will do lakes right after. Must be a bit of a delay. So there's these like little bits of trail that kind of wind their way around, kind of like this, and then there's these really big kind of like areas that kind of work their way down. So we're gonna put one tree working our way right up here. We're gonna put another one down here, and we're just gonna get this loose outline kind of up and running. I'm in Ontario and I have a yard of the lily yard. I have a yard of lily of the valley flowers soon. Oh, beautiful! Those are gorgeous. I love those. Did you plant them, or did it just come with the house? I usually think of those as pretty natural flowers. Okay, so we got a couple of these. We'll put a few big ones right here, maybe. Maybe a big, huge one right there. And then we're just gonna fill this one up. There we go. Lots and lots and lots and lots of trees. Plenty. Now, my goal, kind of like yesterday, is just to kind of run wild with these while I can. So, quick outlines, doing sketches and watercolor, and colored pencil, and just kind of going mad here and just seeing if I can kind of get that sketchy feel. And it only really feels like it's working when I kind of add a little bit of some speed to it. I feel like I should probably put a person on this one. Where would they be? Maybe like right here. Yeah, we could put a little person up there. Put a little person in right now. I usually try to get my people in first, just to kind of give them some shape. Oh, I don't know if I love that person, but that's okay. That's the other reason you do them first. You can kind of hide them if you need to. Okay, well, I guess I'll be running. Nature, they spread over the last 25 years. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's like the coolest garden you could ever not recreate yourself, you know? Lily of the Valley are great. Okay, a little bit down here. Of course, we got our big trees. Pull those up here like that. I did a couple big trees yesterday, which is a lot of fun. That's a big one. Pull a couple branches off that. Maybe do some of this. With landscapes though, the real trick is just not to overdo it, not to overthink it, just kind of keeping it relatively simple. Something I'm not actually very good at. But that's why we're kind of being speedy, so we can kind of trick our brain into doing a little bit of it. We'll see. Got a little bit going up here. These kind of sketches too, I'm going to try to get like a lot of big bright light into this one, which always feels fun and a little bit dangerous, because that nice contrasting bright light is beautiful, but it can really turn out not great. So there's a real chance that this just kind of goes sideways, and we're gonna find out very shortly kind of which way it goes. A little bit over here, and then we do want this big one right here. We're gonna put this massive tree right up into the corner. See how it shakes out. couple of little branches, and then maybe some ferns. Kind of looks like a forest, right? Kind of get that forest vibe. So I'm going to put the sun kind of right here going through the branches. So we're really gonna kind of have some vibe feels, but I'm not going to put these trees in yet because I kind of want them to be almost melting into that sun. So a lot of these I'm just going to leave pretty blank. We'll put a little bit of texture in here just to have it, but I don't need too much to exist before we get going. In fact, the less I have, probably the better. That would just fine. Okay, so now erase any of the lines that kind of get in the way. I'm kind of into leaving them lately, but we'll take a couple of them out. This is what's great about kind of having a little block, is you can just sort of scoot it all over the place. Normally I'd tape stuff down, but like this way I can sort of go one to the other, to the other, to the other. Little thick paper also works great too. If I could be using a trail tile, I probably would, but I need these just a little bigger. Oh boy. Now is when we just kind of dive in, isn't it? All right, let's give it a go. Yeah, let's do it. All right, step 1. Oh, you got to teach a spinal decomposition class. Oh wait, I've got to teach a spinal decompression class. I'll get back to you later. Whoa, that sounds amazing. I feel like we could all use that. You just saying that made me like want to have better posture and stop like, slouching quite as much as I do. Considering spines seem to be like our biggest weakness as humans, I feel like we don't nearly treat them kind of as well as we should. I think I'm gonna use these colors. I know I have like a big palette full of these, but this little one it's comfortable, knowing having a palette where your brush kind of knows where to go without even thinking about it is such a blessing. So we're just gonna be doing that. I can always refill it. Okay, a little drop on each of them. There we go. And let's put a little drop on our mixing board, and I'm just gonna wipe that down. All right. Am I stalling? Probably. It's always scary starting a painting. I think I've talked about this. We've made videos about it, but it does always surprise me how every single painting is like just like kind of starting from scratch. No sense. Absolutely no sense like why that is the case, but I feel like it does feel like that. But the problem is like a lot of people who maybe don't paint a lot don't realize that it always feels like that, and then that'll stop them, which is such a shame because they're so close to like getting going and doing something probably really cool. So we'll find ways to get past that altogether. Okay, we can do a Trailbound Zoom class in the future. We sketch, then paint. Oh, cool. That is a great idea. We stretch, then paint. Yeah, sorry, we stretch, then paint. Yeah, Linda, we will definitely take you up on that. Oh my gosh, everybody's bringing their own cool talents. It's like stone soup. Okay, now, speaking of lightness, let's add some water. We're going to put a lot of sun right here, I think. So we're going to start with this. Kind of right here. Yeah, okay, we'll shoot for that. And then I'm just going to get a slightly bigger brush. Let's move it all around here. There we go. Let's just start scooting this around. I want that kind of golden light just about everywhere. And I'm going to kind of scoot in the middle here too with just some water to kind of lighten that initial ring of kind of bright yellowness. So here we go. I'm going to move that through. This nice, beautiful kind of golden light moving through, and I'm going to slowly turn it to green as we go further and further. So we're going to start with we'll start with sort of that brightness. And we're going to move slowly to green. That's still pretty kind of blue and, or sorry, pretty kind of, you know, warm. This warm green. Will this work well? I have no idea. The white, I only want kind of a little bit, I think. Because I'm not sure. But we're going to try it. And I think I do want a lot of this light, so I'm just going to use kind of water to kind of pull the rest around. And if I want, maybe I'll even put like a touch of blue up top, which will just kind of mix into green, but at this point, that's fine. Okay, well, there's something. We'll give that a try. I grab a little bit more of this kind of orangey yellow and just kind of circle that just to have it there, but I think less is more usually when it comes to this kind of stuff, so we're going to see what happens here in just a second. All right, that's how it starts. And then while I'm at it, I'm gonna pull the rest of the color in because the sun is gonna kind of soak everything. So I want that all around. Here's a lot of this. There we go. This is where those really big, huge brushes really work. Okay. So there's that. Just kind of in general. I might add a bunch of water in the middle here, kind of around that little sunspot. I feel like I might have made this a little bit too not quite luminous enough. We'll see if we can pull it off. And like I said, I might end up doing this one twice. I'm going to get this heated up, and then we're going to move on to Trillium Lake. Okay. We'll get that drying. Lovely lighting. Think you so much. Now let's get some Trillium Lake going on here. So Trillium Lake is a very cool looking spot. I think it's one where we basically have to do landscape because it is gorgeous and quite landscapey. Let's get our pencil. There we are. Oh, I didn't do. I didn't even realize I didn't even use any pencil on that, like colored pencil on that other one. That's all right. We're gonna go into Trillium Lake here, and we're gonna try it slightly differently. You've got to have that first sketch to kind of just test it out, you know. So okay, Trillium Lake. We have Mount Hood, rising right out. Excellent volcano, and we're gonna kind of put some trees on this side. Put some trees on this side, technically trees, and then we're gonna kind of put a line under one of these, and then the rest is gonna be kind of reflection. Now that I have it there, I'm not quite sure how I feel. I think this might be one to repeat as well. Today might be two landscapes. Sorry, I promised wildflowers, and I might be fully lying. Although technically a trillium is a type of flower. So Trillium Lake is like a lake full of flowers. So, or we could just like make one flower on the edge and call it good. Okay, so this is kind of where we're going with this one. We're gonna put some lines into it, and I'm gonna try not to overdo this one. Maybe this one I'll paint to the edges, and then I'll come back and I'll do another one, that kind of more sketchy version. Do I have a favorite watercolor? That is a good question. Yes, and the book taping, I'm taping these ones just because the edges are free, and that way I can just really just let them just really get all over the place there. Do I have a favorite watercolor brand? Yes, I've been using a bunch. Holbein are lovely. These are like the tubes that I've used quite a few of. We did a kit with them. Holbein's great. They're good stuff. I'd say mostly what I'm using right now is Daniel Smith. This is, just knock all these over. This is, I put little clips on them, so I just have them on a bulletin board. This right here is Daniel Smith. They are, I don't know, they're made in the US. They're just like solid. Yeah, Winsor & Newton are also great. I'll talk about like nice fancy stuff. And then honestly, like any of the nice stuff is nice. Like Koi is fine. Coleman is great, or Coleman. But these I've used a little while and they haven't quite let me down. And I'd say watercolor is less of a like finding the right paint that is perfect and more of finding the paint that you trust, I'd say. There's lots of right paints, but some are cheaper than others and some are more available than others, and some, you know, for one reason or another you use and then you trust them and you're like, all right, this is the paint that I kind of know and trust, and that is worth a lot. But lately for me that's been Daniel Smith. Not paid to say that as well. In fact, we've reached out. They're very hard to get a hold of. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of scoot around here. The flowers and ferns inspired me to start focusing on plants to practice, get my reps in. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah. That's, I mean, everybody kind of needs their, what is it called in tattooing? A flash? Tattoo artists have something called like a flash, which is like left to their own devices, they can just bust out a tattoo in like minutes. And I feel like watercolorists kind of need that too, where you don't quite know where to start. You need to kind of go somewhere, and you just, I don't know, maybe you can like paint a really good anaconda without thinking it, and then you just do. But sometimes you kind of need that, because then you kind of start thinking about, oh yeah, what else would I sketch? And then you can do the harder stuff, but it's almost like that warm up. And plants are a great one to do. Excellent choice. All right, we got some trees. Got some more trees. So we're back here. Got some more trees. And we got this big old mountain. So let me just see if I can get his contours right. There we go. This is definitely one people know well. So gotta make sure we're like not super accurate, but vaguely accurate. I climbed this once, maybe twice. It was pretty cool. It's a big one. They don't mess around with these volcanoes in Oregon. But Rainier, which is another volcano, Washington, that is that's probably the hardest core thing I've ever climbed. It makes it way less overwhelming. It does. Yeah, it does. It really does. Okay, so we got one of those, and now let's add a little bit of some structure. This one, like I said, I think is going to be fully, I think we're going to go fully painting all the way to the edges. Maybe I'll add a little bit of some lines in there just for fun. I love pen lines because they kind of get dissolved in by the watercolor. Like, not really, but the watercolor overlays them when you do this style, and they just look really nice, sort of hidden below. It's kind of fun. Also, hello, Silas. Welcome. We are sketching not flowers today. We're sketching landscapes. I'm having a change of heart. We're getting our landscape reps. And doing some Mount Hood. We have some Forest Park drying right now below, and I am trying to figure out how much of this mountain I want to kind of put in. Like, there's a lot of snow often on these mountains, so I think what we're gonna do is put like a bunch of, let's see, we'll put a bunch of, we'll paint in the rocky sections. There we are. Something kind of like this. Ta-da! Okay, we'll scoot some of that up there. Okay, this is a start. Now, I did say I'm going to add in some, maybe a little bit of pencil, just to kind of have something in there. What is this color? No, that's pen. That's just straight up graphite. Looks like I got some green and some purple. We can use green and purple, that's fine. Let's try some of that. We'll do some purple up here. Pencil doesn't always have to be the right color too. I find that the non-right color kind of accentuates when you do put that green in kind of a fun way. Okay, and what am I missing? I just need to add a it up to the top. And then what do we have here? We've got some green. We will put a little bit of green in here. These things come together so quick, which is funny because like I was stressed about, you know, whether or not like starting this, right? You know, it's like there's the scariness at the start and there's the exhalation of the finish. And then in between happens very fast. But between those two, it feels like an impossibility to like even get close. All right, so I'm just gonna send over. So we're coordinating this big wild trip here. I'll tell you about in 1 second. I just need to make sure that I'm going to the right place. June. All right, I fly back on Wednesday. Let's go text Lauren. There we go. So we're going. There's a really cool Well, it's cool. It's rough. There's a big conference, the National PFAS Contamination Coalition, puts on a big conference, and they do a lot of really important work to kind of the remediation of these forever chemicals that affect a lot of communities. And this conference is full of people who are basically from affected communities. So they're not really there by choice. They're there because something happened to them. But now they're like, let's not let this happen to anybody else. So I'm going to be making a book about that. We turned a little story about forever. The idea is to turn into a book. So we're really excited about that. But still got to do the thing. We're going to live stream it probably next week, to be honest. And then there's this conference that we're going to. The idea of creating the book so we can get it to people there, so they can see it and have that story, and have the funds go to support them. So very excited about this, but so much work that has to be done before then. It's like almost a little scary to even think about. So instead, we're going to paint this pretty picture. Okay, a little bit of the light stuff going in right now. So we got the lights of the snow, putting the lights of the kind of shoreline right here. Scooting around right there. Just adding some of those in, and then we'll kind of fill in the rest with a lot of these bigger kind of bolder colors. The reflection is going to be something interesting too. A lot of times you want to add the reflection either first, like the first thing or the last thing. So it's kind of one of those like hard choices to make. And one that I'm not going to bother with because I'm going to go move on to Forest Park, which should be dry. Just like that, we have a relatively dry Forest Park. And now I actually got to figure out what we're doing with this one. So I've got kind of our little sun sort of spot right there. And I think that we're going to add sort of the light washes that go behind it. So anything that is near the sunspot will be fully blown out. So that means like the tree, I think I'm going to put a tree right here, would be fully blown out. I'm gonna make anything else that's behind it. So like say there's foliage. Put some foliage kind of around like this. Fully blown out. And then maybe I'll put some purples or something like that. Yeah, let's try some of this. I might put a little bit of purples or something, and I'll connect it to those spots. But the stuff that touches, you know, the edge where that sun is are going to be just as bright can be. I'll put a tree right through that too. So here we go, a couple in here, adding a little bit of purples, and then maybe a bit of greens, and we'll kind of work our way down and through. Am I using watercolor pencil? Not this go around, and these pencils are not watercolor either. They're just the width. They're just the width ones. So this version I think is just wax pencil or whatever they're called. You know, color pencil. So those are pretty normal. But I do love watercolor pencils. I feel like they've got a really great use for so many things. One of which being like when it's really cold out, they don't freeze. So you can still make a sketch and then go back and then you can watercolor it in later, which is a very cool thing to do. All right, a little bit here. And now let's add in, we're going to put in some of these green sections because then we'll be able to add in some of our trees later on. So we do have some foliage for yous who are on a foliage kick. So I'm just going to kind of add in some like greens right here. These are kind of, you know, where the branches are coming through and lighting things up. And by putting these greens in right now, it means that we can kind of put trees behind them, trees that we might not know we want to put in yet. So we'll put a bunch of those in. You can use green, you can use a bit of yellow, you can kind of make them whatever color you need. This is my kind of first sketch of the day, so if it goes awry, I have no qualms just sort of making a different one. This is what I'm telling myself. Purple's a great color to use as well. Purple and green do go together pretty beautifully. It's kind of underappreciated, I think, a lot. But when they connect, purple is like kind of this great connector. I love the way purple is able to kind of just be friends with so many other colors. Okay, so a little bit there, a little bit in the blue world, maybe even coming in here to highlight perhaps some of that edge. Something like that. Okay. Looking good, feeling good. Now, let's use a bit of splatter. This is a great place to do this because we'll be coming to some more stuff later. So I'll use some green. And I can just kind of add a bunch of this. It'll kind of fill in the cracks, and it'll give some kind of depth and dramaticness to it. That I don't want. So come in with a tissue, easily take out anything in here. It needs to be blown out, just fully bright, kind of like that sun. We can't even see details. That's what I want in that section. And let's add maybe a little bit of dirt to some of this in here. We're just filling in some of these little color blocks. Here we are. There we go. If you're feeling brave, this is also a great place to like add some like letting things kind of connect and merge. It's always a little nerve-wracking to like let color mix, especially in watercolor, but this stage of the game is there's no loss. You know, if it stays in its lines, cool. If it doesn't, maybe even cooler. So now's kind of the time when you should try that out if you can. A bit of green up in the corners. Maybe some browns in there too still. And then who knows, maybe some purple as well. This to me is that kind of Pacific Northwest sunny forest. You got purples, browns, and greens just everywhere. Purple is complementary color to green in the CMYK color wheel. Oh, it is. Okay, cool. That's very cool. I wouldn't doubt it. I think in a lot of ways, like I should probably do more theory. Like I think there's a lot of very smart people who've done a lot of very good work to kind of let us know what would feel good. But I will be real. I think in a lot of ways, I sort of just love stumbling onto this stuff. And it's almost like you get to discover it. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm sure people know this, but I found this out and it feels magical because of it. So we got a lot of this going in here, and let's move on to our next painting once I have some of these sort of locked in. Once again, splatters, good time for it, but this stuff is also dry. It's probably not going to do a whole lot. Unless you want some on your trail. Okay, a good start. Where'd I put the other one? Oh, there it is. Lost an entire Mount Hood for a second there. Okay, so Mount Hood, this is going to be, yeah, how are we going to do this one? This, I think I need to move to the actual Mount Hoodiness of it. We're going to kind of lean into maybe summer. So basically the snow will go down to here, and then just over the course of the summer it'll just rise a little bit. So it's kind of like a calendar. You can sort of tell what year it is, or at least what type of year it is. But I'm just gonna kind of wade into it pretty quick. We're gonna add little bits of this kind of lighter brown, sort of all over. And we're just trying to kind of get that initial coverage of mountain. There are some big glaciers that we want to avoid, but it also kind of, like, you know, at any given year, at any given summer, it's all going to look a little different anyway, so you get a lot of leeway with this mountain in particular. There we are. Okay, I think I got most of the glaciers covered pretty well. And while it's still wet, then I'm going to come into the purple. That all-encompassing, easy to get along with, purple. Gonna go kind of on the edges, especially where stuff sort of feels a bit more like, yeah, kind of right against that sky. There we are. And voila. Here, check this out. I feel like this comes together fast. You can almost miss it a little bit. There we go. So the purple kind of adds that shadow too. Just pure brown is fine, but like the purple kind of gives you this depth in a shadow where it's like the purple is still rock, but it's like shady rock. This, if you were feeling wildly confident, is where you would do some splattering. I am not feeling that confident in anything, so we're gonna just put some pretty basic stuff. And there we go. That's kind of how I'm mostly gonna start it. Simple, but it'll do. Maybe I put just a taste of green, just sort of touching some of this while it's still wet, but barely. Life is but a dream. Okay. This is gonna be pretty blue, but some of this is gonna be kind of bright. Oh, I'm kind of regretting. I feel like I should do. Don't you love like this little? Like already, I'm wondering if I should sort of half sketch it, half not sketch it. I think I am gonna fully sketch this one, and then we're gonna try another one, perhaps if we have time. Give it a try. So in that case, let's just see if we can kind of do a speed run through this watercolor. Adding some yellow now, putting some of my mixed yellow in right here. And here goes our green as well. These trees, probably not quite in autumn, but we can add them whenever. Yeah, see, this is the kind of stuff, if and when I do this in the future, I'm thinking just Mount Hood will be kind of in, and then we'll have everything else kind of half painted. All right, here come the couple blues going down here. Tomorrow is big painting day, if I mentioned already. So we're doing a sketch of something. I've got the blank sketchbook. My plan is to kind of, you know, if Fridays work, that's a big plane going over us. My plan is if sketches, like kind of Friday sketches work, doing like an accordion notebook most Fridays. And so I've got my blank accordion notebook already. I've got all my stuff packed. And the dream is to kind of take it out and fill that thing up. But talk about nerves, the like nerves of getting one of those giant books sort of started, and it's all connected too, so it's not like you can kind of restart it. But I love the kind of sketched out look, so that's what I'm feeling for tomorrow. Take us somewhere interesting in the mountains. I'm gonna sit, sketch something out. I'll bring lunch. It's gonna be a picnic. Have a great time. Or else. No, it's gonna be very fun. It's all kind of practice for trying to track down some of my grandma's sketches. Like if I can do this in the snow, then, you know, where she's sketching in Antarctica or something like this, I'll be better practiced for it. So that's gonna be my I think this is going to be my plan. Okay, there we are. Looking swell. Should we do the reflection right now? I could. Maybe we try it out. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Okay, you ready? Like I said, speed run. So we're gonna add the reflection here. It's gonna be a little nerve-wracking because you kind of have to do it all at once, and depending on how still the water is how much detail, and I want kind of a medium amount of detail. So what I'm gonna do is add some water right now. I'm gonna grab a little bit of some brown, and we're just gonna kind of put a tiny, like just a touch. Maybe we'll mix this some yellow. This will be right where the shore is. Because the shore would reflect too. Anything you can see is going to be reflected in that plane. It might be thinner and squatter and slightly different, but it'll still be reflected depending on how close to the water you are. And now, let's move on up. Anything that is kind of bright right there, we're going to put in right here. So we're going to extrapolate a little bit because, you know, I don't know what the rest looks like, but we're gonna assume that's gonna stay pretty bright. That's gonna be kind of nice and bright. And you sort of see this stuff like moving through? It's gonna get cool. It's gonna get cool, or scary, and then at least we'll know. This is actually an argument for doing reflections first, because if you really mess it up, at least like you know you messed it up, and then you can maybe do something else. All right, just like that. And here we have it. Then, of course, we're going to have whatever this is, which can be a little bit bluer, a little bit darker. Put some of that in here. Here we go. A little bit of that going around. If I want to do a reflection or something cool like that, this is when I would add it. I don't want to do a reflection or something cool because I'm going to do potentially this again. So we'll add that in a moment, but first, the closer to anything you get, the bluer it's going to become. So don't be afraid to blue it up a little bit if you need to. Don't blow it up, blue it up. But then we've got this here mountain that needs some sketching. Oh, hold on, before I ruin it, look at this cool thing. Look at that texture. Look at that green, it looks like a river delta. How neat! Oh, so cool. If only that was on the paper. I feel like paint always does that to me. Like you just kind of leave it alone. Does the coolest thing you can imagine, but not on the paper. Usually because I was like, you know, overworking it or controlling it. And if I just let it be, it would. But a little bit down here. And that. We'll do most of it. So we're going to let some of this be, some of this gets to get connected with that. And just like that, we have our mountain. Kind of depends on what sky. I think I like feeling a vaguely bluish sky. So I'll add just a little bit of that maybe now. And a lot of water to kind of flow things out. Especially the blue. And I'm doing this while it's wet because I want that bleeding to occur. Sounds kind of morbid when I say it like that. But you know, like I want the stuff to kind of move and shift and flow. Like I don't want it to be perfect. Not that it would be perfect if I just... Not that I could make anything perfect. There we go. Okay. So that's kind of some of what we're looking at. I think I'm a little off on this. I'll add maybe a bit more right there in an attempt. A bit more water. See what happens. Okay. And then I'll add just a touch more into these trees right here while it's still wet, because I'll be adding some more in soon. Now's when I really want those kind of effects to happen, so I might even add some water to kind of see if I can force some blooms. Oh, this is turning out cool. What do you think? Good? See, when we zoom in, that's when I kind of like start to see those details emerge. I'm gonna add a little bit of some darkness right to the edge. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. Here we are. Okay. I like this. All right. Just gonna leave it alone, probably. If I have the gumption. Getting some real big water drops in here, and then we'll just let it do its thing. Excuse me. Sneezably good. That's so good. Yeah, I dig it. All right, we're gonna let that dry. Hope that it works out. Sometimes you never quite know whether these things dry. They can also turn on you a little bit. So we'll let that dry, and let's get to Forest Park here. Forest Park. Okay, and we're back. Should have been teeing up here. Although maybe this is allergies coming in on, like, which would be exciting. But we have so much snow, I doubt it. Now we're going to start dealing with this tree right here. So this tree in particular, which I started and then kind of stopped myself. Fun times with a friend or two. Fun times with a friend or two. In Forest Park? In the spring? Oh, did I put that in the description? We'll see. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of this tree, and you see I'm going full yellow here, is because it is going through the sun. The sun is stronger than the tree, so I'm just kind of tapering it out just a little bit, so by the time it hits that white spot, it is just blazing. And then I'll go in with my purple right next to it, like this, and then I'll go through my purple up here, right here, and then I'll move it into either brown or indigo or something like that. So you can kind of see it's like going right through, and now I'll move into the brown, which is kind of funny because purple's darker than brown, so you think it'd go brown and then purple, but no. We go purple, then brown, and I kind of want to make it bigger actually, so I think I'll lean in just a little bit here. That feels pretty good. And do you see, because I put these little bits of tree and stuff in, or like leaves, I can kind of pick where I go in and around them and if I want to or not. So it kind of gives me all this flexibility to be able to kind of create foliage. How cool is that? The answer is it's very cool. So we're now gonna work our way up just a little bit using whatever bits we have. There we go. Okay. Oh, that turned out very good. I like this very much here. Let's hope I don't screw it up. But yes. Oh, yes. Look at that. Neat. That is neat. Oh. Cool. Oh. Right? Sorry, nobody said anything, but like, right? How cool. I feel very good about this. Okay, let's not screw up the rest now. So, working on the rest. Let's add some more of this kind of over top. I feel like some of these trees could definitely use some of that that same magic. Probably shouldn't have put as much lines as I did. That could have been a mistake. We're gonna add some of this over here and some of this over there. Yeah, something like that. Oh, that's here. Check this out. Look at that. How neat. Right? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna work right over top. There we are. We're just gonna pull that all the way up. I'm gonna try it again. We're gonna pull that Nope. All right, we're gonna try again. Let's try. It's just the erase button that is um, tissue paper. It's great. Um, okay, so we're just adding a little bit. We just need a little bit of color because we have this right here. Let's add a bit more warmth and kind of this working down, and then we'll make all of these relatively dark. A little bit over the top and over and around. And while I'm at it, let's pull in some blues here. I don't know if I want to do blue or indigo or moon glow or something like that, but we'll usually start with blue, and then we can always go darker shades if we need. Because I had that green in there earlier, I can kind of just carve through it and make whatever fern shapes I need on the side. There we are. Okay. Ta-da! Oh, sorry. Let me not even show you any of that. There we are, right there, with a little bit. And working through the edge, around and over. I love this. Okay, so gonna add some blues in here now, and just try to use some of that green that I added, just to kind of move it around. It might look like I'm kind of just figuring it out, but that's mostly just because I'm trying to figure it out. It's mostly because I am, and there's no real rules, but I do kind of like that sort of little bit of texture, moving it over, something like that. Doing a lot of squinting too. That is how I kind of see my value, and I try to paint with mostly just value before I actually worry about color or any of the other little details and stuff like that. It should look good through blurry eyes. And then you can worry about it. Okay, same up here. Let's add just a little bit of, I don't know, maybe a touch of these. The trees are going to be mostly the darkest thing that we have, so I don't need to worry too much about pushing through them or pieces going around. I think that's going to be mostly it. And actually, the cool thing is the trees are going to go sort of through the foliage. There we are. Okay, so something like that. I really like where this is going. I'm tooting my own horn a lot here, but like, ooh, neat. All right, a little bit of some purple, flicking it on. Now it's kind of when I get to add these medium colors, and soon we're gonna be relatively done with the messy part, and we'll just add a couple bits, and it's gonna get really, really good. So we got some of this. Now here comes some of these back trees, and I'm making them pretty light. It looks darker than it is. This will dry pretty light, but some of these back trees are going to be big but light, and I'm letting them kind of move through that foliage. Yes, something like that. Maybe this one I'll make even lighter than that. There we go. Kind of just the hint of tree. It's kind of like that. Same with this one over here, which kind of loose hint of tree. Maybe even looser hint of tree. Okay. Cool. And you're just making leaves. It's like what you choose not to put down is sort of what exists. Oh man, this could be a cool one. Do you ever get like so pulled into your own drawing? But now is my opportunity to ruin it, which I'm usually pretty good at. So don't put it past me. This could be a good start and a rough finish. So steel yourself for that possibility. All right, let me come back to this one in just one moment. Nope, let's add a little bit of some shadow while we have a moment. So sun is coming from right here, which means it's gonna be, let's see, we'll mix up a bit of our shadow first. It's gonna be kind of scooting its way right across and over. So it's gonna be kind of right here. So that means that this is gonna be in shadow. And that we can kind of add that in now, knowing sort of where it's at. Yeah, just like that. And it'll kind of work its way through, but then this right here will also be in shadow, which it already loosely is. So will this. There we go. Okay. So that's actually what's going to be in sun, is just this kind of little slivers here. And we can actually add in technically our shadows here if we wanted. That's going to be in shadow. It's going to work its way over here and down. This will be in shadow. It'll work its way over here. This will be in shadow, and it will kind of be here, which is actually kind of weird now that I think about it. Yeah, it'll all work out. Yeah, we'll have lots of this. Some of that, a little bit of this. And our little person right here will cast shadow as well. We'll make their shadow extra dark here in just a second. Okay, yeah, it's still working. Okay, time to toss this one down. Back up with Mount Hood. Here we are. Zoop, zoop. We'll give this a try. Also, is everybody just quiet? Or is it just me? What kind of, oh, gorgeous lighting. Thank you. I wasn't fishing for compliments with that, just for the record. I was just checking in, just seeing if we're all doing well. All right. Time to move on to this one right here. We've got a couple different layers to add. Kind of bring this full circle. But I mean, that reflection. These help too. These like little black borders, you know, in the form of tape is just makes it feel fancy. When you say put the values in first, are you referencing the values of the green and such? I guess I'm meaning like the black and white. Like squint your eyes and the colors kind of disappear, and you just see the contrast. You just see sort of where the contrast is. And I think that's what I'm trying to paint with first, is just get the you know, if that darkness is made out of blue or green or brown, it doesn't quite matter as much so long as the contrast is there. I squint, but you know, I feel like that's sort of what I mean by the value, because you can have the perfect colors, but like if your contrast isn't there, they all just kind of blend together a little bit. Basically, I'm saying paint for the color blend in mind, you know? Okay. Oh, and first time here. Well, welcome, Bocoli. I want to say broccoli because your name was in green, but Bocoli. Welcome, Bocoli. I just can't keep up that fast. I'll watch again to get caught up. It's just good to watch too. I appreciate that, and I think sometimes you just sort of like you absorb more than you might think, and eventually, like really, it needs to absorb into here. This is the real artist right here. I just need to get out of my way and let my hands do what they know how to do, and let the water do what it knows how to do. What gets in the way is me being like, it should be there, and it's like a CEO or something who's just like mucking about in the weeds. Like, don't get in your own way, which I am currently, which is why I'm procrastinating, not adding the next layer. You weren't fishing for compliments, but Prob's one of my favorites I've seen you do. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like where this is going a lot, which is kind of scary because I don't know what's gonna happen next. And like the sky, like that's a real toss up. So why don't we just add in this piece right here? That at least I kind of know what we're doing with that. Let's do some purple into a blue probably. So we'll add some purple. Oh, that's blue. That's all right. We'll add some blue, I guess, into a purple then. And we're just gonna kind of scoot it up here. There we go. Maybe even put a bit of green on it. Kind of on the back end. There we go. Little kind of pockets of trees here and there. And then we add in something slightly darker for this bottom bit. But not over here. I'm gonna let that be green. Give it a bit of contrast. Here, maybe a bit of purple, a bit of blue. And we're just gonna work our way over. While I do this, if you wanna let me know what you think our sky should be. Are we doing like kind of a one or two big thunderhead kind of a sky, like a pure blue with a little bit of white, kind of light blue? What does this feel like for sky? We obviously has to be some kind of blue, but there's like a lot of different there's a lot of different directions we could take this. There we are. And then I'm going to put a bit more of that color up here as well, just to, get the little bits of kind of volcano spires and geology and rocks, just sort of, just so. There we are. Little bits loosely on purpose. Done dirt cheap. The concentration gets real. All right, that's probably plenty. Here's the full picture here. There we are. Dark sky. Gosh, Silas, you always throw me for like the hard ones. Stormy sky too. All of you. Oh my gosh. Is that tub purple you see? Is it a tube purple you use? Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, this is the purple I'm running with right now is called ultramarine violet. You can mix your own. There's like a lot of ways to mix your own. Any combination of any blue and any red will give you purple-ish at some level. I use enough purple. I get it pre-mixed. All right. You're thinking dark stormy skies? Somewhat stormy skies? Oh my gosh. This is... I'll try it out. I'll try it on something else, and then we'll see if we can put it together with this. This is just the kind of the scary ones, because it's like you have an opportunity to really mess up your painting, but you're right. Like a mediocre sky now would just kind of be an insult. Oh, look, we got some good bleeding there in a nice way. I like that a lot. Let's let this fully dry. We'll put this, actually, I can probably find. Let's add this in. Put a base line of green, just kind of in the middle. So I'll kind of put this light color here, and then I'll put two darker colors on either side of it, and they'll kind of sandwich it, but with hopefully some cool texture. I'm gonna add a bit of indigo up here, something kind of like this, and let it kind of fade in right there, and then I'll probably put a bluish or something down below. Just like that. And then if I did it right, those two kind of sandwich each other, and we should end with something kind of lovely towards the middle. We can always kind of force that situation if we need. There we are, and then I'll kind of fade it out here, and then we'll add in that little bit right at the end. It is working. It is working. I might need a little bit of something to sort of mute this. There we go. I don't want too much of a, there's that. There we go, just a little bit more muted. And we'll add in a couple trees, just kind of pull that off. I can also, if I do what, kind of an in-between, I can always pull a little bit of it out. I think I put too much of this on top too. So what you can do is you can kind of rub it a bunch and then lift it. It's called a lift is what this is. So, all right, there we go. One painting. Almost there. We're gonna get there in this next like 2 brush strokes. So let's move down to our forest park here. And then just in case you're just hearing this now, but tomorrow I'm gonna do a really long, very cold outdoor sketch here in Alaska. I live in Anchorage. We're gonna head up into the mountains, do a live sketch on a giant sheet of like accordion notebook. So that's tomorrow from 10:30 Alaska time to 1:30 Alaska time. So if you're around, come say hi. Maybe check in on me to make sure I'm still okay. All right, now we're coming back here. This is turning. What's that? I like looking at it. I still like where this is going. We just need maybe a little bit more in the kind of this realm. So we're just gonna add a little bit of this down. That'll kind of make the shadows feel a little bit less extreme. And now let's add the rest of these trees, I think. I think that's kind of where we're at with these. So the trees, I'm gonna put a bit of mostly brown. Further back trees are gonna be bluer and lighter. So I'll just add some blue to my brown and a bit of water. And we're gonna kind of start probably this way over just so I don't, I'm right-handed so I don't kind of smear as we go. Let's actually start with this one right here. This is gonna be a big kind of brown streak. What I should do is put a little squirrel right here on the edge. We'll think about it. We'll have lots of time. I'm going to switch it over this way too if you want. There we are. Right over here. And we're just going to pull through and we're going to add a little bit of color to one side. But you can kind of see there's so much overlap and spots and it all just disappears. It's amazing. There we go. Nice, big, long tree. And then maybe we add a bit of purple or something while it's still wet. Let it just move in. I don't even know if like this side would be used, but it should be. It should be enough that if they want to, they can. There we go. Okay, tree number 1. Tree number 2 right here. Let's get into it. I think this one's going to be mostly just that burnt sienna. We're going to add just a little bit of the edge. I know that you can technically see those lines going through it, but that's okay. I don't really mind too much. But here, watch this. By adding in this tree, yeah, I did put a little bit of those lines, didn't I? By adding in this tree, then we can kind of pick what of the foliage we want to exist. And if I don't end up liking any of this, I can just very easily come right back in. I feel like I might have shot myself in the foot by putting those in, so I think I kind of have to stay within the lines, otherwise it looks a little bit half done. But that's all right. That still looks lovely. And so I got this big one. Now let's add some burnt sienna mixed with indigo or something like that. A little bit around the edge. But you can kind of just put it right through the middle. So our edges are kind of warm and glowing, and then the middle is that dark shade. I think some of this stuff would be in shadow, some of it wouldn't. Kind of randomly go. All right, now right over here as well, we're gonna go kind of through this one. This one, I think I got a bit more leniency, so I'm probably gonna let some of those branches go through this tree. There we are. Both paintings are beautiful. What about a blue sky where the moon is showing through? Love those clear mornings and evenings where you can see the moon. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, we'll practice a few of those and we'll do that. We'll do that together. Yeah. Excellent suggestion. Thank you. Yeah, that feels very Oregon to me too. This is for an Oregon company, so Keen, they make shoes. They're good people. They make some really fun shoes, and so this is for their impact report where they do all the environmental, basically stuff. From how they make more sustainable shoes. Or how they're trying to work well to use volunteer hours to like give back and make it possible so that employees can go save baby turtles and cool stuff like that. But they like it when it's illustrated well. And so that is my job right now, which is pretty freaking cool. I'm doing like 50 to 60 little illustrations that could be in it. So this is just 2 of the big ones. Still got to figure out what they want for a cover. Honestly, though, I feel like this wouldn't be a bad cover. Like, I feel like maybe. We'll see. Kind of nerve-wracking. If you have those thoughts, then all of a sudden you're going to overthink it, and then it's going to go badly. But, like, yeah. You never know. I've had things be covers before, and it's always like, really, that one? But or they'll just choose like a big group photo. That's fine too. You'll see I'm mostly putting it on that side. We're gonna let it roll. Same with this one. I'm just gonna put a little edge right here. I might run through this one as well. There we go. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. So doing a little squinty test. I think this is gonna work out just fine. So like the value, like you squint at this, right? You can kind of it looks when you squint at it, it sort of looks like trees coming through. You can see the value on one side of the tree versus the other, and then you open your eyes and the details kind of shine through. But like it's holding up to the squint test at least. What happens, Max? What happened when you're looking for Lou physical newsletter? Good question. Yes. Okay. You want to know? I will tell you. So the actual newsletter is gonna happen. So if you're new to this, the newsletter is where is it? I have some copies here. Oh yeah. So the newsletter is I had a newsletter. We still do. So the idea was like, once a month or something like that, you have this cool newsletter, got neat stuff. You can trace this, like this would be something you put paper on and then trace it through the light. Where's the light? There you go. See, you can put your paper back here and then you can trace it through. Got a QR code. There's a lot of stuff going on, and this wasn't like a casualty of it. This was more like, oh shoot, we could do this right, but we couldn't do it right based on what was happening right now. So we've kind of paused temporarily, although it's been several months at this point now. But the plan is to do this, but to do it well. So potentially as early as July, but there's so much stuff happening in July. Basically, in short, we're gonna get back to this, and then we're not gonna stop. Like when we start this, it is gonna go and go and go and go and go. It's gonna be awesome. We're just trying to figure out how we can do it in a way that is both like sustainable and makes sense, and follows the right adventures and things like that. Oop, let's see. Children are getting in trouble. Yes, this right here. Sorry, let me go. In trouble, children. We have a 3-year-old, and oh my gosh, there's a term three-nager, so appropriate. Want me to come in, or can you wait 30 minutes? Someone's in trouble. But boy, they can just go from like loving to like doing some real damage so fast. But yeah, so this is so my grandmother left behind 6,000 sketches from all over the world, and my goal is to find where she stood for all of them and make the same sketch in the same place with the same materials, because she was like in Antarctica and the Galapagos and all these cool spots. So this is all kind of practice for that. I've been dreaming about doing it since 2016, and I just need to do it. And we have films out. We'll do a watch party. We've done it for a couple. We're 11 in. We still have 5,989 to go, but we're 11 in, which is great. Okay, this one right here is Gonna be kind of a lighter color because we have that sun so close right there. And I'm just gonna pull this down a little bit, and then we're gonna move into the same dark kind of tones. So here's this. Now let's add some. Let's pull those browns in. The nice thing about our little tiny person here is it gives our trees some real scale. You kind of either need a huge sheet of paper or a little person to really get like the sense of how big some of these things are. And I find little people are just very effective at doing that. Damn, have luscious eyelashes make squinting a bit hard. Having luscious eyelashes makes squinting a bit hard. Yeah, I could see that. Was that just like a real, self real good like self big up moment there? Some good luscious eyelashes. I was gonna say I wouldn't know, but I think I have decent eyelashes. I don't have eyebrows. That's like my problem. It's like, I've got no expression, because I've got no eyebrows. I've worked extra hard for it. It's hardly fair. All you eyebrowed people, you're just sitting there, have no idea how easy you got it. You can just make expressions like nobody's business. That's the difference between a smiley face and just like something with an emoji is its eyebrows. And I gotta work and do all kinds of extra, facial expressions. Okay, so there's our tree, kind of going up into the distance. We'll add this one, we'll add some branches, and then we're basically done with this. Didn't mean to pressure you, just curious. No, you're all good. It's a good reminder. It is gonna here I'll tell you the full scope. So right now, we're trying to figure out what next year looks like. The plan is to kind of potentially follow those in earnest. Like there's so many sketches, it's so cool, but then this live streaming thing makes it possible. Like we found these sketches before. I've been looking since 2016, but it takes a camera person and like all this coordination, and it's a lot of work to make one of these videos, and you got to get funded, and then the funders are always like, I don't know about that, and then they want to have thoughts and opinions, and then you find the place or you don't find the place, and they got to edit it and get it to a film festival, and it's like a lot of work to get one of these stories out. But the beauty of live streaming is it's basically you just get to watch the camera roll, and then if it's an interesting enough story, then we can take that footage and make it into something bigger. And so we think that might be the trick to actually capturing some of these a little faster is I just take you with me. We go track this stuff down. It'll be like geoguessing in real life. Very few of them have labels. We'll see what we can find. And, maybe if we live stream it, we could then figure out a way to cover like the cost to get to Antarctica, or the Galapagos, or some of these really far-fetched ones that would be a little bit impossible for me to cover the cost of normally. But together, I think we could, convince a cruise boat or a scientist or something that we should take myself and my 19 closest friends, on some of these cool adventures. Still figuring it out, but the plan is by, kind of up the amount of streaming we do, and then by next year at least, we've got a plan and can do it. Max Romey style. Yes. What's this? I can draw a girl in a gym outfit with a dress. Max style? Max Romey style. Yeah. No, it's like the drawing little people. It's the way to do it. Small people. They give you scale. No matter what style. Maybe it's your style. I haven't drawn a girl in a gym outfit with a dress for a while. Hello everyone. Welcome. We're just sketching some upside down trees right now. We're sketching some forest park scene, and I'm just gonna roll this right up to the back, right like this, and then we're gonna see if we can kind of pull something in. Having a little bit of shadow on these trees kind of gives them a lot of a nice look. So we're gonna kind of work our way over here, and I think I'll leave that one right there. Oh, fun and cool. And then, like I said, we can just add a little bit of our tree, and then all of a sudden it becomes that like you're kind of carving out that foliage. So cool, right? All right, now how much I got? Just a little bit of time left. We've said just want to vent. Pour. Sounds rough. It's kind of silly too. Like, so my wife is in there, just like absolutely holding down the fort. But I just find it really funny because people be like, "Oh, so she doesn't work?" And it's like, yeah, right now she worked harder than I do." Like, I don't know if I don't know if a lot of people have, the kind of kids that we do, where it's like one is kind of a pretty chill potato, and the other one is sort of varies from a Tasmanian devil to a raccoon, um, and then variations of the scale of chaotic good versus evil on both sides. But it's a lot. Okay, a little bit of this tree. We're going to work it all the way up right there. Not sure if we're using the edges, but if we are, then that puts it there. And ta-da. I like that. I like that very much. The black borders really do it for me as well, but like, man, it's hard when your employer is a toddler. Yeah, yep, it's brutal. She's on, 18 to 24 hours a day. Her boss is insane. Just like crying one minute, laughing the next, demanding snacks the other, and then other people are like, "Oh, you don't work?" Yes, she does. A little bit here. We'll add some shadows, kind of to the edge of those, but mostly it's right there. And let's put some tree kind of going up through there. Oh, this is just, yeah, I like this. And for some reason, my camera kind of makes stuff like a little bit more kind of flat. I think it's actually filming in something called flat, or maybe it's raw. But this is like a lot brighter in real life in kind of a lovely way. Let's put some brown in here just to kind of work our way around, get a bit more dynamic. And then we're going to go figure out this this sky situation. Gonna go see about a sky. Okay, right there. This will kind of get that like this both like kind of shows what the ferns are, but also those kind of embankments that they have in Forest Park. That was fast. Oh my gosh, love it. Love it there. When we're ready, I'll kind of put a little bit of a shadowy edge on the edge of some of these, or I'll do it right now. That'll do just fine. And let's put a little bit more on this one right here. Does Eve like painting too? Yeah, actually, her whole family is pretty artistic, and I'd say mine is too. Like, I am. Sorry, let me think here. Yeah, I am super lucky. I've got like amazing examples, like lots of artists in my family. On my dad's side, it seems like everybody kind of went either visual art or into music. But then my mom was always, encouraging us to get a lot of painting and things like that. And growing up, we weren't allowed to watch TV so much, but like we were allowed to sketch and things as much as we wanted. So that was kind of a nice thing that sort of naturally led to a lot of this. But my dad still sketches, like little things. My sister's quite a good painter. My brother is artistic. I don't know if he sketches quite as much, but he does a lot of cool archival things. So he does really cool collages and stuff too. But I also feel like people don't show me their work quite as much because I do a lot. Like, I am a professional painter, and I think a lot of times people don't, like, they hold this weird standard where it's like, if anything is any like less than perfect, I'm gonna judge them on it. Like, they're gonna show me their work and I'll be like, well, that's garbage, which is not true. Usually they show me their work and I'm like, that's awesome, and it's like, it inspires me because they're playing and trying stuff that I wouldn't have even thought of. But I do notice that it does happen, like in the wild, where I'll like find out somebody's actually a really amazing painter and they just sort of hit it because they didn't want to show. which would be true. Like if I was a singer or something and I was just having fun with it, I probably wouldn't bring it up to Ariana Grande or somebody like that. My grandma did teach technical drawings for oil rigs her whole life. Interesting. Oh, did technical drawings for oil rigs her whole life, but painted every night. She gave me lots of brushes and paints people happy. Oh, that is so cool. What a like what a great thing to pass on. It's like one of those, it's like the love of something is the best gift you can give, you know? So now I go to painting classes with her. It's really cozy. That's so cool. Yeah. I mean, it's like we always, say we say paint it forward is kind of our loose motto, but it's true. It's like in doing so, you can pay stuff forward, and that's cool. If you pay for somebody's meal or something like that, but painting it forward, it just keeps on giving. It just keeps on going. It's like it's so cool, and it's yeah, it's like infinite, but it's also scary. Okay, now I'm adding some branches. We're gonna put a couple down here, maybe. A couple over here. These both make things confusing if you have too few, but once you have enough of them, they start to look really cool. So that's kind of the trick, is you gotta add enough that it's not like one awkward branch. They become the forest. There we are. We'll add maybe a few down here. A couple over here. These trees, they'll have branches until, like, I think the sunlight kind of kicks out or they get to a certain size, and they kind of just cut them off. So they'll still exist. They're just not like doing much. But they are, when you look at the landscape, nothing's ever like perfectly untreed with no branches or anything like that. It does kind of break up our composition a little bit, but that's fine. See if I care. Neat. All right. I feel like we're pretty good on most of this. Let's see. We're just gonna add a little bit of. Oh boy. Yeah, I like where this is happening. I'm gonna add just a little bit of some splattery bits down here. That's too much. I'm just gonna add a little bit of some splattery bits. One right here. That should do. And then let's, I don't know, this right here, we could make it a fern. I'm trying to think. Let's do the squint test here. Do we need something kind of dark right there for compositional purposes? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we're just gonna. And we'll put some green to kind of pull it into. Put a couple over here as well. So this is the part where I get all quiet because it's sort of like you're in the zone, And then let's work our edges. Right here gets one, right here gets one. Couple back here, and our little person, we are gonna fill them in. You just gotta wait one more second. Let's add maybe even a touch more down here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is cool. This is very cool. So a little person, I'm thinking red. I usually try to do like nice contrasting color. We might just make them super dark. Let's give them a red shirt and like dark legs, I think. So here's, oh, this is actually helpful too. Here's what it looks like big. This gives you often a really good sense of kind of what's missing. There we go. Let's try this out. Oh, wait, you're saying interesting things. I said I don't know what to create. She said to just learn for fun. I'll have a toolbox if I figure that out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is the most important thing, is just kind of having fun with it, really. And being introduced to art has been so much fun. I really I really love that my family's artistic too, and so many different kinds of art and crafts. It's like it's the best. Like yeah, if you can do one thing, just like yeah, introducing like sharing art with somebody. It doesn't have to be a kid or like, but like you know a friend. Just being artistic around people, which is also kind of like a pretty vulnerable thing to do. You know, like it's scary. Like sharing what you're up to is kind of terrifying. Um, you know, but if you can do that, I feel like that kind of like that exposure is just good, but scary. Okay, sun, person, shadow, and we'll just have to mark the rest of the shadow just so everybody else is kind of the same level. I'm just also using up the rest of the paint in this paintbrush. I'm just gonna cruise it around here and then let it stop. And now I can take a little bit of water and kind of brush out the last half of this body just like that, and that should make it kind of a nice drop shadow. Oh, it's cool. It's tiny, but they're cool. I can see that they're already bleeding into this. That's all right. I don't mind. See if I care. Actually, what I will do is I'll probably put all that way darker and it'll look great. These trees, maybe they need them like little bits of line. Maybe they don't. I think I'm actually gonna, well, here, let's try one here and see what happens. Yeah, that looks great, actually. Try another one up here. And another one over here. I'll be honest, I was planning on kind of using this as like a test run and then doing another one. I don't think I'm going to do another one. Partially because I don't have time. Secondly, because I love where this went. We will finish up Chilean Lake, though. It's cool. It's cool. Okay, a little bit more of our ferns over here. Let's add a little bit more to the edge. And same over here. We'll just put a bit. The darkness is kind of key because you kind of need it all to be around the same level, kind of for the matching purposes. Yeah, that'll do just fine. All right, here it is for a big scale. Now let's move on to round 2. Trillium Lake, right here. I'll just add a quick bit of this side. We're gonna add a bit of green, touch of purple. Kind of like that. That's plenty. And then we'll pull it in some darker indigo. Make it stand out a bit. There we are. Okay, now we have a sky to do. I would be lying if I didn't say I was like a little terrified right now. So we're talking potentially like a moon in there. That could be kind of cool. But also, what if we just leave it blank? No? Yes? We should do something, shouldn't we? We should procrastinate by scooting over here and adding more little bits of tree. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of this together, and we're going to do kind of some of this. And especially over here. It's just kind of given the shape of these things. And I'm picking, normally you'd kind of like do reflection based on what was above. I'm actually doing what is above based on the reflection. And then a bit of water will kind of smooth a lot of these pieces out. Just kind of showing that there's, showing some forest for the trees, you know? Okay. And maybe a couple little bits in here. How are we doing on time? All right, 10 minutes. We can do this. So you want the sky. It's very demanding of you all. We can do a sky. We can do a very nice sky. Let's test out a sky. Who's a painting that is mess? So here's the paintings I've done so far with everything. All right, I did this on purpose. I swear this wasn't just like a mistake, because sometimes it's really helpful to have like little splatters and stuff if you're putting together something. So I'm gonna take a piece of this. We're gonna test out a sky, see how I feel about it. Here's our painting. Why is it so scary? You know, it's like that is the hard work, I think. Like a sky really wouldn't take very long at all. So you can like a moon kind of right here. Should I go look one up? What is a moon? Moon in daytime sky. What are we looking at here? I can feel it, but I don't know if I can like picture it. Moon in daytime sky. Images. Okay, here's what we're seeing. So pretty light stuff. That one would have been faked. Maybe I could change some stuff. Those are with some clouds, so I see that. It's pretty light. And actually, let's see here. Where's that? You can kind of see the gradient is there. So honestly, what I'd probably do is add this after the fact. I'd probably use like gouache or something like this, not just looking at it. Yeah, because that would be kind of a hard line to pull off with like these big washes of a sky. But it doesn't mean I won't do it. I think that could be a kind of cool thing, especially a little bit there. Let's see about, let's see, sky, Mount Hood sky. I'm kind of curious what kind of clouds are dealing with. I think mostly Mount Hood sky is just you don't see Mount Hood because it is absolutely socked in, but occasionally you do see Mount Hood and it's very nice. So this is, let me see here. Yeah, so you got these. That's a good example, right? So you got these kind of low clouds bopping around. It's pretty high, but you do still get, so that could be blue going into white. Okay. Let's see. The overlap of people, you know, that's cool. 1,000 people pick pretty. 1,000 people pick pretty. Okay. Do you speak for 1,000? I am thinking too much. That's what I'm doing. Let's paint. Okay, so we're gonna have like, say this is Mount Hood right here. Mount Hood, we're gonna do 2 of these. We're gonna have like sky here, and then maybe I just like let part of it sort of, oh, but I want the sky, if I want this sky to kind of break Mount Hood, like not break it, but like I want it to be able to sort of go up a little bit, so it'd have to be something like this. Blue on the bottom, and then, yeah, dark, flowing, and then going in. So it should be, if you can't do it in practice, like why should you be able to do it in real life? So it'd be kind of a bit of this right there, and then probably another one sort of here. This is sort of indigo coming in, and then I'd add water up top like this, and then we'd put blue down below, and this is my mountain right here, and kind of let it move through. Couldn't make it too sideways, but then, yeah, okay, all right. You want a vaguely stormy sky? I'll give you a vaguely stormy sky. T minus 5 minutes. You ready for this? There it is. Why is it so hard? Right. Let's do this. Okay. We're going to start with perfect mix. Nope, we're going to start with some new water. This is what I'm dealing with the water. Sky is very important to do something. Where's the new water? You don't always need clean water, but it doesn't hurt when it comes to the sky. There we go. Much better. I mean, like that's still a yucky cup, but the water's clean. All right, let's get this. Let's get one. We can do this. So the sky is going to be just a little bit. We need a slightly dark. So we're going to use some indigo. We're going to mix it down. Here we are. And we're going to put just a touch of it right to the edge. Because I love it when you have a sky that's just a little darker than the mountain above. Okay, so something like this. And the reason I'm adding this in first is because then I can kind of pull and push and kind of bring it up and break those layers a bit later on if I want to. I'm going to do the same over here. Adding that to the bottom, and then potentially even breaking a bit of this cloud right here with some of those. Going real long out like that, and letting the water do the work. As much as I can, at least. There's only so much water can do. Okay, but already we're starting to get a little bit of that drying action, so we got to move fast here. So now that I have kind of some of both of this, now it's time for that blue. And blue is just not like it's not cloud, but it's still a big part of this. So we're going to put a little bit of this right here. Okay, and now let's add our blue. The blue is kind of nerve-wracking because you kind of have to do it all at once. Here you are. So I'm holding it sideways just so I kind of have access. You kind of have to do it all at once. And I don't want too much. So this is kind of all the blue I'm planning on using. I'm going to pull it up and around. Maybe put a little bit in the middle and then letting some of it connect so that it can kind of fade in. But not all of it. Kind of just enough. Okay, there's piece one. Now we're going to do sort of the same. Just a little bit over here. Once again, not too much, just enough. Going over a little bit and down and up. And we want just enough to be blue sky, but not enough to kind of like steal the show. Like this mountain is stealing the show. That is the show. All right, but now when we get higher, that's when the sky is going to set in. So now the sky is what kind of carves out the cloud. See? So what we put down is what is it like we're going to end up having. And we're just going to put some water in here. Like I said, the water is what's going to do the work. And just like that, we're close. We're not done. We're close. Maybe a little bit of sky in here. Pull it down over these. And How's that looking? What do you think? Pencils down. This needs to be darker. Let me see if I can help out with that. Right here. Problem with this too, you kind of got to go all out because you don't get a chance to go back in. It is as dark as it is. But I think I need just a little bit of that like this. You're getting your storm clouds, Silas. And here is that. Okay. There we go. Cool. I dig it. What do you think? The real thing is I just gotta like stop doing too much of this until it's too late. Okay, that should be plenty. Okay, I think we're done now. Yeah. There we go. Okay, yeah, nice. There's that. Maybe use a touch of this. Okay, now I'm done. Okay, well there's this. That one turned out really well. I really like that. And now let's go check out our forest park. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna let this dry here in the warm. We got our forest park. Let's see, we got a little person down here. We'll see if there's a way that I can kind of bring them out just a little bit more. I think what I would do is I'd probably just give him a bit of hair or something. Maybe give him some pants. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I think we're there. Here we have Forest Park. Did I use the boot last night? The boot? What is the boot? Max, did you use the boot last night? What is the boot? Now I'm very curious. The boot. Did I use the boot last night? Is that like a Canadian thing? Like oot in a boot? I was oot in a boot. Please let me know. And okay, we got this one, and now here it is. Put these together. Here's this one. I am thrilled. I really like. Well, I can't really show them together. Anyway, you get the idea. That's fun. Those turned out really well. That's okay. That is. Oh, the boot painting. Yes. That is. I feel like that is a good start to those. And I will say these little black lines. There is something magical. This is a good example. If you ever want to start making a painting, put some black painter's tape around it. It'll make it perfect. But also, putting a mat around your stuff. Maybe you have a painting that you're like, yeah, it's okay, but like, try it out. Try a black mat. It might change everything. Yes, did I sketch the boot? No, I did not sketch the boot. I'll be doing that perhaps tomorrow. No, probably not tomorrow. Next week, I will sketch the boots and things like that. We got some stuff to work on. I need to do some really interesting paintings. I also need to do several paintings of the Mercator map. So these at some point I need to have fully sketched in. So we'll be doing a couple different versions of that. We'll see how it all goes. But thanks everybody for joining today. And then if you get a chance, you haven't already, we have an amazing Discord community. You can find them. We have really fun challenges, cool stuff, just good people. And you can find that on our website email list thing. We have a cool newsletter. It goes out and the newsletter has a link to the Discord in the bottom. That's how you get on And when you sign up for the newsletter, it sends you a link to the Discord. But that way, it's not full of bots and things like that. But the Discord community is amazing. And then tomorrow, 10:30 Alaska time to 1:30 Alaska time, I'll be in the mountains, giving it a go. Hopefully, making something big, an accordion journal. I've got it all. Here it is. It is ready. It is ready to go. This thing is gonna get filled. Ish. So tomorrow it's gonna be a hoot. Come have a picnic with me. It's gonna be very, very exciting. Yes, I just saw your text there. And thanks everybody for joining. This was a way fun. I am. Oh, the Cricket Boot outline. Yes, I've already forgotten what we chatted about. That it did not take long. But yeah, this was way fun. Thanks for actually just real quick question, top or bottom? Are we talking the lake or the trail? Like what is your favorite? Zoom in here for your scales. Here's the details of our lovely mountain. Ta-da. Or are you a fan of the trails? That one interesting, nice tree. The people. Trail's the fave. Okay, we got one for trail. Any other strong opinions? There are no wrong answers until we tally the vote, and then we find out who is in fact the wrong answer. I feel like I want both of them in frame at the same time, but I don't feel like I can. They're both really nice. Can't choose. Nailed this guy, but the trail's the fave. Yeah, okay. I could see this being the cover potentially, depending on what they do. I feel like that'd be fun, but you never know. They might also be like, It's so hard to know. Trail's the fave. I'm seeing a clear trail winner. Okay, yeah. I mean, I like this one too, but yeah, there is something like Forest Park is so good, especially like this time of year. There's just something so nice about that. Love the warm glow. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. All right. Okay, I'm gonna bid YouTube adieu, and then Twitch. I'll send you off on a raid here in just 1 second. But thanks for joining. Tomorrow. Come say hi. Join our Discord. It's gonna be a riot, and then just paint it forward. There's people around you, whether they just see you doing it or you're encouraging somebody who's sketching or something like that. There's a million ways to paint it forward, and the world needs more of that. So that's my challenge to you. My other challenge is please check in on me and make sure that I'm okay tomorrow.